Going through architecture school, it was something that I knew would take a lot of effort, a lot of work, a lot of time, and subsequently then, one of my favorite quotes that I would get often from my friends was, well, can't you just work ahead? And there's not really a lot of understanding of how architecture worked, because if you were working on a project and the professor could see that it was becoming an even better project, you were working through some of the kinks, the design was really fleshing out, it made a lot of sense, it looked good, the professor wouldn't just let you go. He or she would actually drive you even further to kind of perfect the project, to make it ready for a client. And this is kind of the same thing for discipleship for us. It's not that we can get to a certain point and be like, all right, good, now I'm a follower of Jesus. Jesus lays down some of those challenging words in our gospel today about what it means to be a follower of him. Kind of that push that he sets forth. Jesus, God as the master architect, desires for us to be drawn ever closer to him. That's why oftentimes in our life when we think, well, I've given my all to God, why is he asking even more? Jesus wants us to leave it all behind. He says, no one who sets a hand to the plow and looks to what was left behind is fit for the kingdom of God. St. Jerome, who we celebrate today, truly understood this. St. Jerome had to leave oftentimes where he was. Now, some would say it's because of his temper, but also it's because he knew that to be challenging others to following the will of God meant that he was going to make enemies. He ended up leaving and going to Bethlehem at the end of his life, living in those areas where Christ himself lived, exploring those things. He was drawn ever closer to the Lord. He says, are you afraid to work? Are you afraid to work? No athlete is crowned without exertion. And elsewhere he said, be ever engaged, so that whenever the devil calls, he may find you occupied. Let us not invest ourselves in busyness as disciples, but let us drink that coffee of architects. Let us drink the coffee of the disciple, which is the grace of God present to us, so that the further we grow closer to Jesus Christ, the more we may drink of his word, the more we may drink of his sacrament, the more we may drink of a life in Jesus Christ, so that the project